हमारे कपड़े फाड़ दिए गए, हमें मारा अपने डंडों से। यही इंसाफ है इनका यही इंसाफ है। हमारे कपड़े फाड़ दिए सारे के सारे, पुलिस वालों ने फाड़े। महिला वो उसको भी मार दिया हमने, जो प्रधान है उसको भी मार दिया।
क्या नाम है?
सूजे मस्त मौसम।
क्या हुआ है? आपके कपड़े क्या?
हमारे कपड़े फाड़ दिए गए। हम यहाँ पे बैठे हुए थे रोक लगाने के लिए, हमारे कपड़े खींचतानी में फाड़ दिए गए। हमें डंडे भी मारा उन्होंने, पुलिस वालों। दिल्ली पुलिस चोर है, दिल्ली पुलिस चोर है, दिल्ली पुलिस चोर।
क्या कहना आपका? महिलाओं के साथ भी धक्का मुक्की है यहाँ पर?
बहुत धक्का मुक्की की है। फौजी की लेडीजों ने हमें धक्का मारा, डंडा भी मारा, उनका कपड़ा फाड़ दी, शशि चांदना को फेंक दिया, हमने उठाई, चोट भी लगी।
So those were some of the women protesters who in fact resisted the administration's work on the ground. Aishwarya Paliwal, my colleague, is also at the spot at the moment. Aishwarya, tell us what's happening around you at the moment.
Well, Paulmi, we are showing you the visuals of what exactly is taking place. You know, because the administration is being run by the Aam Aadmi Party, that's the reason why you are seeing the slogans being raised against Arvind Kejriwal and also against the administration. These are the visuals that we can show you. This is taking place right outside the temple where the administration had come. Jai Shri Ram temples, you know, Jai Shri Ram slogans being raised by the people here. The people now are moving away, Paulmi, let me tell you, from the spot and are now. We'll also try and speak with them. जो मंदिर के लिए एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन आया था उसके खिलाफ आप लोग विरोध पर प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं। आप लोग चाहते हैं कि जो जिस तरीके का डिमोलिशन हो रहा है वो ना हो।
ये आज तालिबानी चेहरा केजरीवाल का दिल्ली के सामने आ चुका है। जिस प्रकार तालिबान में मंदिर को और तोड़े गए, उसी प्रकार आज दिल्ली में भी ये तालिबान का जो समर्थक बैठा है केजरीवाल, उसने दिखा दिया कि वो अकबर का आखिरी वंशज है। और आज पीडब्ल्यूडी के माध्यम से, एसडीएम के माध्यम से, डीएम के माध्यम से मंदिर का प्रांगण तोड़ा गया और जिसके हम बहुत खिलाफ हैं। और अगर मंदिर तोड़ा है तो बगल में मोहल्ला क्लिनिक टूटना चाहिए। बगल में मदरसा है, मदरसा टूटना चाहिए, अवैध मदरसा है। तो हम इसके खिलाफ कड़ी
So they are against the fact that a part of the temple, they are against the fact that the temple premises has been broken, Paulmi, and they are also saying that in case some part of the temple is demolished, then the adjoining areas, the adjoining buildings should also be demolished. The people now walking here and going onto the other side now. Slogans against Arvind Kejriwal at the moment being raised. Paulmi.
Okay, so it appears that the district administration, Aishwarya, has stopped its work for the day because of the resistance of the people.
There definitely is a lot of resistance, Paulmi. You know, now conversations being happening between the leader here, the local leader here, and they're also trying to speak with the administration.
Okay, Aishwarya, we'll come back to you. We're going to stay with this story because tensions escalated on the ground over there in Mandawali, East Delhi. We're slipping into a short break now.
You are watching India Today.
Fan of Modi, so.
Billionaire, visionary, world's richest man, and latest addition to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's large fan list. Tesla chief and Twitter owner Elon Musk confessed that he's a big fan of Prime Minister Narendra Modi after he met him in New York.
I am a fan of Modi, so I have to say that.
Musk richly lauded Modi's transformation of India.
I can say he really wants to do the right thing for India. He wants to be open. He wants to be supportive of new companies, and obviously, but at the same time, make sure it accrues to India's advantage.
Endorsing Prime Minister's vision for India, Musk, who has been scouting for location of Tesla's next factory, hinted at his next possible foray into India.
Obviously, India is great for solar, the amount of land area you actually need to generate enough electricity to power India is very small. I believe it'd be probably 1 or 2% of the land area of India. So it's very doable. And then you need to pair that with stationary battery packs because the sun doesn't shine at night. And then you need electric vehicles, and then you have a sustainable energy future.
When I spoke to Elon Musk soon after his meeting with Prime Minister Modi, he's confirmed on record that Tesla will be investing, he himself will be coming to India next year, and that Tesla is looking to collaborate around SpaceX and invest in manufacturing in India. Now, the specific nature of the investment not explained at the moment, but just the fact that Elon Musk has himself confirmed that Tesla will be investing in India after meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi would count as one of the big wins.
Modi appreciated Musk's efforts at making cutting-edge technology accessible and affordable for the masses.
Your reaction to Jack Dorsey's statement, Elon?
Powered by
The world comes together at Sharda University.
All right, Prime Minister Modi in the United States, indeed an India moment as we see this kind of euphoria that surrounded this 4-day state visit of the Prime Minister. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. Let me take you through the headlines first. All eyes on key Modi-Biden bilateral tonight. Big focus on defense and strategic ties with the United States. President Biden and First Lady Jill host Prime Minister Modi for an intimate dinner. Jill Biden personally inspects the dinner table, gifts Modi antique American book galley and a vintage camera. Prime Minister Modi gifts a 7.5-carat lab-grown green diamond to Jill Biden. Modi presents 10 Hindu gifts for President Biden, gifts as per Hindu rituals for the 80-year-old president. High drama outside the temple in Delhi as protests now erupt over demolition that's just begun near the temple, and that protest now turning ugly. Ajit Pawar reveals larger ambitions in NCP, says the post of leader of opposition now stifling him. In fact, Ajit Pawar wants strong NCP post. All right, let me take you through this protest that's currently underway at a demolition site near a temple. High drama right outside a Delhi temple where protests have erupted. Mandawali area. This is where we see huge protests after a demolition drive has begun near a temple that's turning ugly as devotees fuming over that demolition drive. Demolition of a railing right outside the temple has led to this kind of ruckus amid claims of encroachment on the pavement. In fact, the administration says no part of the temple is touched. It's a railing that's encroaching the area, and therefore that should be brought down. We see that devotees now raising quite a protest as we see many of them out in the streets raising slogans. Women devotees form Hanuman chain to stop that demolition drive from taking place. Jai Shri Ram chants also heard right outside that Shani temple. Mandawali area of Delhi. We see those images coming in as we speak. Protests still continuing with authorities trying to stop them, where many of those women are forming a Hanuman chain of sorts to stop that demolition drive. In fact, the administration, Delhi administration says that this was an encroached area and they attempted at bringing down the railing of the temple. No part of the temple was touched. But nonetheless, devotees fuming over this demolition drive that's aligned with the temple and trying to stop officials from carrying out that demolition. They're now chanting slogans of Jai Shri Ram right outside. These are images coming in from different parts, different corners of that temple, where we see people all out, devotees largely, and the public who are condemning this demolition drive. Women there forming a Hanuman chain to stop them. But yet administration there wanting to continue with bringing down the railing, calling that encroachment of land. In fact, this railing there, they say that is encroaching public public property. It is public property. It's encroached government land, and therefore that railing must be brought down. To which we see this kind of protest all out on the streets of Delhi's Mandawali area. Mandawali area in Delhi, we see different angles, shots that we bring to you from that very point of protest, showing you how people aren't allowing officials to carry on with the demolition drive, many of them holding a Hanuman chain to block off this demolition. These are live visuals even as we speak, Mandawali area of Delhi. Aishwarya Paliwal joining us live for more on that. Aishwarya, take us through what really we're seeing in Mandawali. People are out on the streets stopping this demolition drive, but give us an understanding on the legalities of it. Is it indeed encroachment of land? Has the railing, does it fall on government land?
Well, some part of it definitely does, and let me show you, the large number of people who have gathered here, these people are against the demolition drive. They are saying that just in case parts of temples are demolished, then the adjoining areas should also be demolished. People here in large numbers, wearing the flag and also raising slogans, Nabila, those slogans are being raised here, and now they are saying that they will start moving to the next part. Some part of the temple, obviously, according to the administration, from what we understand at the moment, has been encroachment. But these people here are now saying that because it is temple premises, it cannot be demolished. That's the reason why such large number of people at the moment have gathered here. The sloganeering was taking place, Nabila, just a couple of minutes back. They are now in a wait and watch mode. They will see what the administration does next. Nabila.
Okay, could you tell us, Aishwarya, if who's built this temple? Is it on private property? Give us more understanding on how long this temple has been standing and who's carrying out this demolition drive.
Well, the local people here, the people from the party and also the local leaders here have come out in large numbers. They are now protesting. A lot of youngsters also we see here. The temple has been in the in this area for almost the past 20 years. That's what we understand. The sloganeering now, Nabila, has begun once again. The sloganeering that you can see taking place because and people are now saying that they are against Arvind Kejriwal because the administration of the national capital falls under the chief minister now. That's the reason why we are seeing this sloganeering taking place, Nabila. All of them now angry and saying that just in case the temple is demolished, we did see one part of the temple being done. Now if more area is demolished, then all the people, the locals now saying that they will come on to the streets. We'll also speak with a local leader here. जो मंदिर का जो भाग था उसको कहा जा रहा है कि वो एनक्रोच किया गया था, तो क्या मंदिर का वो भाग एनक्रोच किया गया था?
ये मंदिर का भाग ही तोड़ा है, मंदिर का हिस्सा ही था उसको तोड़ा गया है।
तो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का कहना है कि वो एनक्रोच लैंड,
एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन झूठ बोलता है। पूरे मंदिर तोड़ने की पूरी कार्रवाई थी, जनता ने विरोध किया, इसलिए मंदिर ये तोड़ नहीं पाए। पर जवाबी कार्रवाई में इन्होंने बाहर का जो मंदिर का गेट था, मेन गेट, उसको ये तोड़ के चले गए। मंदिर का बोर्ड इन्होंने उखाड़ दिया।
So very clearly these people now saying that the gate has been demolished, Nabila, and people in large numbers now protesting, coming out and saying that just in case other parts of the temple are being demolished, then everyone, the entire locality will be coming on to the streets and then the protest will take place. Nabila, showing you the visuals of the people.
Could you get us some voices, Aishwarya? If you could get us some voices, let's hear it from them. Definitely not from those boys, but anyone else who's around you, few adults. We see some minors raising slogans. If this is encroached land, then then the ruckus should be contained. We see police officials, who are trying to stop protesters from blocking off this demolition. And in fact, not an inch of that temple is being touched. It's just the railing that will be pulled down because the authorities claim this is encroached. It's encroached land. Now, we see those protesters sitting in dharna with the police now trying to pacify those protesters. The demolition drive itself is stopped. Yeah, go on. Aishwarya, please bring us some voices.
Well, Nabila, we will try and speak with the locals here, but let me tell you what's taking place at the moment. The police personnel there, trying to pacify the people and trying to make sure that the situation does not go out of control. The people here, Nabila, are extremely angry because the gate of the temple has been broken, and they are saying it's not just the temple. Others also, the adjoining buildings, if in case this is what the administration is saying, those buildings should also be demolished. Showing you the visuals, Nabila, of the sloganeering that's taking place against Arvind Kejriwal. The locals here are saying that this has been done at the behest of Arvind Kejriwal, and it's only the temple that is the target of the demolition drive. Nabila.
Right. You know, Arvind Kejriwal, tell us who exactly is carrying out this demolition. Who are the officials? Which zone does this come under? If you could give us some details and clarity on what basis is this demolition drive being carried out. And this should have been expected. It's a religious place, a place of worship. One knows touching a place of worship, you should be mighty prepared with the documents. These officials, we're assuming from the civic body who are carrying out this demolition, should have all the legalities in place. Do we know if this is indeed encroached land? Protesters are claiming this is a lie, but what's coming from the administration?
Well, the administration, Nabila, very clearly maintaining the fact that this has been an encroached land, and this is not the first time that we are seeing something like this taking place in the national capital. The administration over the past many years has been very strict. Even if it's a religious place, even if it's a temple, it cannot be encroached upon. Just to make a temple, public property cannot be encroached upon, and that's the reason why the administration now had reached the temple. But because it's a temple, and as you rightly pointed out, Nabila, if these kind of demolition drives take place, obviously they do lead to a lot of backlash, and that's the reason why a lot of youngsters and the local leaders are now onto the streets here. The sloganeering taking place. Thankfully, Nabila, let me tell you, the situation is under control. We did see a couple of police personnel also speaking with the leaders and trying to make sure that the situation remains under control. Nabila.
All right, Aishwarya, thanks very much for joining us on that. Well, we're going to continue tracking that, but for now, some big news coming in from Telangana. Let's cut across. All right, a private travel bus en route Puducherry from Hyderabad has caught fire. It comes in contact with high-rise tension wires. It's reported that nearly 25 passengers traveling in that bus and the luggage all gutted. But thankfully, we hear that there's no casualties. Thankfully, at least 25 passengers have miraculously escaped from that fire. The private bus caught flames after it came in contact with high-tension wires en route Puducherry. The private travel bus was caught fire at Singarayakonda in Prakasam district. Let me cut across to Apurva joining us on the phone line. Apurva, tell us more on this fire that's caught on a bus, a tourist bus, we believe. Nearly 25 passengers thankfully have escaped.
Well, that's right, Nabila. In fact, this incident took place at Prakasam district there early this morning when the private travels that was en route Puducherry from Hyderabad. It was 25 passengers were on board, and the bus, while traveling in Singarayakonda in Prakasam district, it had come in contact with a high-tension wire, is what we're told. Luckily, according to the police there, we told that all the 25 passengers safely escaped from the travels due to the timely diversion that had been given by the driver of the bus and the private travels there. We're also being informed that unfortunately the luggage of the 25 passengers was stuck in the bus when the bus went up in flames. While the 25 of them miraculously escaped, the entire bus was gutted in the fire, even as firefighters and rescue officials and the police immediately went on the scene and tried to douse the bus that had caught on fire. This incident took place early this morning in Singarayakonda in Prakasam district. This was even as the private travels was en route from Hyderabad and was going towards Puducherry. We're also getting to know that a case has been registered and that the complete details of the bus travels and the driver is being taken down.
All right. Tell us more about these high-tension wires, Apurva, that's been left dangling. One can only imagine if a human came in contact with that, what would have been the outcome. This bus has caught fire just because of those high-tension wires that were just left loose. Is it not the responsibility of authorities to keep them in check?
Well, what we do understand from the police is that, this was due to the negligence of the driver there who had been driving the bus in a wrong direction. That is what we are getting to know. The police are investigating into the angle of negligence on part of the driver as well, because as far as we know from the police authorities, it is been noted that the bus was, while traveling in Prakasam district, it was en route Pondicherry there, and we got to know that it was due to the bus driver's negligence. That is one angle that the police are also looking into. The high tension wire, as far as the police do state, it is that it was somewhat dangling low from the cables there, and that is also one of the reasons that they are trying to identify as to why this incident had taken place in the first manner. From the visuals there, you can clearly witness the kind of flames the bus had been engulfed in. Luckily, 25 passengers there who had been saved from what could have been a very horrible accident to take place. But all 25 of them had been saved due to the timely help from the driver there, who had alerted the passengers and asked them to get out of the vehicle right on time. The police are investigating into the high tension wires as to who is to be blamed for them dangling this low from the electricity department, as well as also looking into the negligence angle of the driver there who had been driving the private travels.
All right, thank you very much, Apurva. Thankfully, the 25 on board have been rescued for the moment. They've escaped, but this is really a lot of answers for the administration to give on why those high-tension wires were left dangling unattended. All right, some news coming in from Tamil Nadu. The AIADMK has filed a writ petition before the Madras High Court against Senthil Balaji continuing as minister. On behalf of AIADMK, ex-MP Jayavardhan advocate Inbadurai files a petition before Madras High Court. The AIADMK now moving the Madras High Court on Senthil Balaji. They file a writ petition before Madras High Court against Senthil continuing as minister. He is the power minister in the state, and the fact that he's got to continue despite all these ED investigation on him. The ED has also taken him into custody. He is still, though, receiving medical treatment, and at a time like this, for him to continue as a mantri, AIADMK seeking his removal at the High Court. A plea filed. Pramod joining us on the phone line, our India Today correspondent. Pramod, give us more. Senthil still holds his portfolio, then who exactly is administering that very portfolio in his absence?
Nabila, for now, the portfolios of Senthil Balaji has been transferred to two ministers. The electricity has been transferred to Minister Sangam Telaris. And yesterday, he went nearly a 5-hour surgery that is called a beating heart coronary artery bypass surgery. And even now, he continues as the minister in the Tamil Nadu cabinet without holding any portfolios. And this is what AIADMK held the protest against yesterday, and now Jayavardhan has also approached the court. This is occurring at a simultaneous moment when Madras High Court is also hearing the case about the habeas corpus filed by Senthil Balaji's wife, Meghala, where the ED is claiming that the petition is not maintainable. As is being heard by the court, now AIADMK has filed a writ petition seeking that Senthil Balaji should not continue as a minister, even without portfolio, because there are corruption charges against them, which is being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate, Nabila.
Pramod, tell us more on the ED investigation at this point. We believe that he's still receiving treatment. So how far Has his health improved, and what next for him? With the ED now investigating this kind of scam, they're waiting for him to come into custody and questioning to begin.
Absolutely, Nabila. Already the Principal Sessions Court of Tamil Nadu awarded 8 days of custody for Sendil Balaji, but that is getting over tomorrow. ED is supposed will argue a case tomorrow at the Principal Sessions Court, where this is going to be about asking for extension of custody, or at least to say that the time period which Sendil Balaji was in the hospital should not be considered as a period of ED custody as well, because that so far ED could not even begin the questioning due to Sendil Balaji's health. Now the hospital has said that as per yesterday's bulletin, Sendil Balaji is hemodynamically stable and being monitored in the post-operative cardiothoracic intensive care, and only the hospital can give a clean sheet based on which Sendil Balaji would be it will be possible for Enforcement Directorate to go ahead and start questioning him or even take him under custody, because till now Sendil Balaji is not under the custody of ED. But today's case is entirely different, where ED is actually fighting in Madras High Court, claiming that the petition filed by Sendil Balaji's wife, Meghala, the habeas corpus petition itself, is not maintainable, where DMK and Sendil Balaji's advocate N.R. Ilango, who's also an MP, is continuously citing various Supreme Court orders since 10:45 a.m., which also includes the case about Sanjay Dutt, the case about Rana Ayub, and he finally claims that the present habeas corpus petition is maintainable due to violation of fundamental rights of the arrested person, and this is what N.R. Ilango is arguing on the DMK's end. ED's Tushar Mehta is appearing for Enforcement Directorate, and their argument is yet to begin. But for now, ADMK is also involved in the case, where they've also filed a writ petition, Abhinav.
All right. Thank you very much, Pramod, for joining us on that. All right, stay with us. I'm going to slip into a short break. Coming up on the other side, Prime Minister Modi in the United States, as he is now gifted Joe Biden, the President of the United States, a 7.5-carat lab-grown green diamond to his wife, in fact, to Biden's wife, Jill Biden. Modi also presents at least 10 Hindu gifts for President Biden, as per Hindu rituals. Taking you through those images on the other side of a short break.
Credible ranking of India's best B schools is back in an all-new avatar, bigger and better than before. Catch the 2023 listings of MBA programs, technology companies, and the top executive courses. Don't miss the 24th edition of the Business Today Best B Schools and HR Summit on 23rd June in New Delhi.
Introducing Apple Vision Pro.
Apple unveiled its hotly anticipated augmented reality headset on Monday, its riskiest and biggest bet since the iPhone debuted more than a decade ago. The Vision Pro poses a direct challenge to Meta's line of mixed and virtual reality devices. And with a price tag that will start at $3,499, the Vision Pro will cost more than 3 times Meta's priciest headset when it launches next year. Apple CEO Tim Cook.
It's the first Apple product you look through and not at. Vision Pro feels familiar, yet it's entirely new. You can see, hear, and interact with digital content just like it's in your physical space.
Apple said that users of the Vision Pro will be able to select content inside the goggles with their eyes, tap their fingers together to click, and gently flick to scroll, while also using a 3-dimensional camera and microphone system to capture videos and pictures that can be viewed in 3D later. In its most striking difference from Meta's headsets, the device also has an exterior display that shows the user's eyes to people in the outside world.
So in the same way that Mac introduced us to personal computing and iPhone introduced us to mobile computing, Apple Vision Pro will introduce us to spatial computing.
The exterior screen goes dark when a user is fully immersed in a virtual world. When a person approaches a user who is in a full virtual mode, the headset will show both the user and the outside person to each other. For work uses, Apple showed how the headset can be used with a trackpad and keyboard to work like a traditional computer with multiple displays. The Vision Pro has 2 hours of use with an external battery, similar to Meta's top-of-the-line Quest Pro mixed reality device. Besides the headset, Apple also displayed a raft of new products and features, including a 15-inch MacBook Air, a powerful chip called M2 Ultra, and improvements to its iOS software and autocorrect feature. Shares of the iPhone maker rose 2% to hit a record high ahead of the launch, but shares ended slightly lower after the announcement.
I want to touch upon another aspect which you are regarded very highly about is during your career and through your private sector tenure, you emphasize the need for gender neutrality in hiring and for promotion of executives in banks. And so many of your proteges or ICICI Bank employees went on to become chairpersons of very large banking corporations. Did that fill you with a lot of happiness and pride that you set it along the way and so many of them actually were, India had so many women bank chairmen over the last 10 or 15 years?
I am very proud and happy about it. But where I quarrel is I did not do anything on that. I just said that, as I was mentioning, I did not differentiate between man and woman in banking. For me, what mattered is talent. What mattered is merit. And if the gender did not come in the way, I removed the firewall between the genders, and that the rest took care of itself. Because the women were really as strong as men, insofar as professional management is concerned. In some respects, they were better than men also. At one stage in ICICI Bank, it was told that I was sitting and Kamath was sitting next to me in the board. The rest were all women who were sitting there. But it was a very pleasant sight. And that's the way in which the gender neutrality will come. I read recently something about some criticism about India, that only 27% of women have employment and the rest are not employed. So when we talk in terms of the demographic dividend, we are not utilizing 73% of our demographic population. So that is not a very good thing to happen. And so we need to remove a lot of barriers which are preventing women to come up in the any organization. It's not only banking, in any organization for that matter. I think the gender neutrality is a must for success of an organization.
No, it's remarkable to hear that you and Mr. Kamath were sitting in the board with surrounded only by women. It's such a remarkable story. But I also want to ask you on the same strain and I hope you'll humor me. Now, did it strike a bitter note when this whole Chanda Kochar episode happened? Because she was a woman who rose to the top, and then that very unfortunate episode happened. What was your reaction when you read about it and heard about it?
I would rather not comment on that because I think still there is what's known as sub judice. And this is a matter I don't want to discuss in public. Successions take place on the basis of the judgment which we consider to be proper at that particular point of time. And what happens later on is something which we all make mistakes. If it turns out it's a mistake, we have to acknowledge that it is a mistake. But we could never have known. In any case, this cannot be a matter of public debate.
All right, some good news here as Fitch raises India's GDP forecast to 6.3% for the current fiscal year. Fitch Ratings on Thursday has raised its forecast for India's economic growth by almost to 6.3% for the current fiscal year of 2023-24 from 6% that it had previously predicted. This is primarily because of a stronger outturn in the first quarter and the near-term momentum. The growth forecast compares with 7.2% GDP expansion in financial year 2023. In the previous fiscal year, in 2022, the economy had grown 9.1%. In fact, the Fitch rating now forecasting India's growth to 6.3%, the GDP growth to 6.3%. While they claim, and I quote, India's economy has been showing broad-based strength with GDP up by 6.1% year-on-year in first quarter of 2023 between January to March, and auto sales, PMI surveys and credit growth remaining robust in recent months. And we have raised our forecast for the fiscal year ending in March 2024 by 0.3 percentage points to 6.3%. This is exactly what the rating agency has said. Let me quickly cut across to Karishma Sudani joining us on the phone line, tracking business news for us. Karishma, of course, brighter numbers showing for our India's GDP from 6 that was predicted to 6.3 now, as the forecast suggests the first quarter has done well.
Well, yes, absolutely. In fact, interestingly, Fitch Ratings verdict even comes after an interesting meeting that was held with the chief economic advisor that happened in the month of April, as per my sources, followed by which we all know that Moody's had also met the CEA last week. So definitely these presentations and long, detailed conversations on how the economy of India is performing has helped the 4 big key rating agencies to ponder over their previous forecast that they had put. Now 6 to 6.3% in real terms is a great figure and a great uplift in terms of the GDP growth that Fitch is predicting, because it is also closer to what the Indian government is predicting, which is about 6.7% real growth that they are looking at. In fact, if you look at numbers for the previous fiscal year, 7.2% in real sense and 9.1% in nominal sense were great numbers and had also surpassed the early predictions that government had estimated during the previous budget. Now, if we also look and draw parallels with what Moody's and IMF thinks, for example, IMF did put us at the 6% ratio, but looks like with inflation coming down and our quarter-by-quarter results getting better, there could be an upward revision by all the rating agencies and international financial institutions.
All right. Tell us a little, Karishma, if you could tell what are the sectors that have done well. They've broken that down for us in that Fitch rating. If you could simplify that for our viewers.
Well, absolutely right. So if we go by the quarter basis results, and you see that auto sales has done well in terms of infrastructure, the capex picking up has been in the government, as proposed also by government, has been doing well, and it's the manufacturing sector that has been coming out. Now, if you look at the food sector, it is something that we are currently grappling with, but that is also because of the monsoon and the El Nino challenges that have been surrounding it. But as per economists predicting, it looks like in the coming days that could also rather prove to be beneficial for the country, and in the coming quarter the inflation could further get down, which even the RBI governor has predicted. So even if you see that the repo rate decision that the central bank has taken, it aligns pretty much with the inflation numbers that are going down for our country's economy.
All right. Karishma, this is, of course, great news for India, as 6.3 is the Fitch rating. It's raised by 0.3%, certainly an upward trend. Thank you very much for joining us on that. All right, let me get across to Karnataka's drama over power tariff that now is out on the streets, with the Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industries, who's called for a band across Karnataka to protest against this abnormal price hike in electricity bills. Bellary Apparel Processing Association and the District Cold Storage Association have held the protest march itself against the power tariff hike. Karnataka Trade Body has also urged closure of commercial establishments today. The objective of this bandh and the protest is to basically draw attention of the government towards the need for a solution and reduction in electricity charges.
ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟೋನಲ್ಲಿ
This HESCOM raised the bill without even giving intimation to the public. And if there was a normal increase of 5% or 7%, which was acceptable to everyone. But whereas this time the bill's increase has gone up from 30 to 70% for many of the people. And many of the industries depend on heavily on power, whether it is small, micro or bigger industries, power intensive. So power has become like a raw material for them. So when such is the case, with this increase, there is a very possibility that many of the industries are not going to become viable, and there is every chance that they may close down also.
All right, Karnataka government had promised electricity free for domestic purposes up to 200 units, and while they did that, parallelly they also raised the price of electricity for commercial purpose by nearly 2 rupees per unit. That really resulted in quite a hole in the pockets of these industries. The industry associations now out in the streets as they protest this price hike, saying bills are exuberant. They're not able to afford to keep their business alive considering the slump in the economy. And at a time like this kind of rise in power tariff is really burning a hole. You see there on the streets in Bellary, especially in Hubli as well, the people from the Business and Commerce Association who are out in the streets protesting this, despite Siddaramaiah himself appealing to the Chamber of Commerce, asking them to hold off their protest, wait till next month's bill comes in. It will be a lot better because the Congress claims that the last month's bill came with arrears. Basically, two months bill clubbed together was presented to people, to owners, and that was what really led to a shock, clearly. But Siddaramaiah says by the next month, the month holding just 1 month's bill will be a lot lighter, and that's when they would realize that this rise in tariff is not much. This is what Siddaramaiah says. But ultimately, the Commerce Association, of course, are really bleeding already with losses. They claim that their business isn't doing really well. And at a time like this, a power hike until the economy stabilizes in India is unfair. So you see people out in the streets there protesting. I'm going to quickly cut across to Sagai Raj, who's joining us live for more on that. Sagai, we see protests in Bellary, Hubli, etc. Businesses really upset that this kind of power hike has left a real dent in their pockets, and business is really low. For them, the business is not going really well at a time like this. This is another added burden. What about Bengaluru? Do we see protests in Bengaluru? Has the Karnataka Chamber of Commerce body in Bengaluru, which is the largest, have they gone on protest and called for a bandh?
No, they have not called for a bandh or a protest here in Bengaluru. We just spoke to the small-scale industry minister, and he has given a clarification that only in few pockets like Bellary and Hubballi, where the industrialists are protesting, FKCCI here in Bengaluru are in terms with the government. And tomorrow, the chief minister have called for a meeting with FKCCI and few other industrialists, where they will try to sort out this particular issue. And even the minister says that probably this particular hike is only for 1 month, and probably in the days to come everything will be sorted out and they need not worry. And a crucial meeting will be called tomorrow with FKCCI and few other industrialists tomorrow when Chief Minister's office, where Chief Minister Siddaramaiah will chair a meeting on this electricity price hike.
All right. Tell us more on the price hike itself. We know that Siddaramaiah said that the tariff will not be changed. It's going to remain the same. This is his clear-cut response to FICCI, to the Chamber of Commerce, saying that you will find it better next month because previous month bills were clubbed together. What's been the price hike really per unit?
See, if you notice that this particular price hike was done in the month of May, much before the election could even commence, and at that point of time there was code of conduct which was being imposed, and it was during the BJP government that this independent body called KRES, which has increased the price of the electricity, and they have also categorically mentioned that this will be staying only for the month of June. So even the minister says that it will be only for 1 month, everything will be sorted out, and they will try to work it on that, because it is an autonomous body. When the decision was taken, it was taken when code of conduct was imposed, because at that point of time Congress was not in power.
Right, so Sagai, clarify for us, this price hike is only for the month of June, is it?
That's what the minister had to say to us. He just spoke to us and he said that it will be only for 1 month, and probably they will try to sort out this.
Not too sure what the purpose of it is. Well, Sagai tells us it's a model code of conduct. It happened before the elections even took place. But we have Prakash, S. Prakash of the BJP spokesperson joining us on the phone line. Mr. Prakash, our reporter tells us this is a month of June that the tariff will be high. Post that, it should be fixed. That's what the minister says. Would you, in your wisdom, know what exactly is happening with regards to the power tariff? We believe that it's hiked by about 2 rupees per unit. So domestic households now get free up to 200 units, but commercial establishments are really bleeding.
No, it is the commercial establishment that have raised, not the domestic.
I know that.
Has gone up the slab. But the effect of the price hike will be known only this month. Okay, but the industries are suffering. Steep hike have been made, and which is why they are undergoing burn today. Part of Karnataka industries have been closed as they are unable to bear the cost of electricity charges.
Right, is the BJP
giving in one hand?
You know what we hear is that this was done during the model code of conduct being imposed in Karnataka right ahead of elections. So the Congress saying that this has nothing to do with the party. It was done while the BJP was there, and it should be better in about a month's time. Would you want to respond to that?
No, it happened on the May 12th when there was no government of the BJP or the Congress party. Always Congress party could have stopped it. Otherwise, they could have compensated, speaking to the KRC, that the government would bear the additional amount of hike in the power tariff. They did not do it. They conveniently accepted the price hike, and it has been passed on to the consumers. That is what is hurting them.
Got it. Right.
On the one hand, you say it's a free electricity. On the other hand, you increase it very steeply. In a way, it is incorrect.
Correct. Right. Clearly, the Congress should have fought for the people, resisted the price hike, but they've accepted it, handed it down to the people of Karnataka like that, and especially businesses now being the worst hit. While domestic households get up to 200 units of free electricity, the burden now seems to be lying on commercial establishments in Karnataka. Thank you very much for joining us on that. All right, cutting across to Maharashtra, Ajit Pawar of the NCP, his speech on 25th Foundation Day of the NCP has now led to some political speculations in Maharashtra. Senior NCP leader Ajit Pawar has appealed to the party leadership to relieve him of responsibility as leader of the opposition in the Maharashtra Assembly and assign him now a new role in the party, a stronger, much bigger role he's hoping for. The statement comes after Sharad Pawar recently appointed his trusted aide Praful Patel and his daughter Supriya Sule as the party's working presidents. Reacting to that development, Supriya Sule has now extended support to Ajit Pawar, claims that Ajit's wishes have created great enthusiasm among the party cadre as well. So will he be made the president of the NCP is something that remains to be seen. He's certainly expressed his wish.
आता इतके वर्ष सगळीकडे काम केले. मला स्टेजवरच्या मान्यवरांना आपल्यालाही सगळ्यांना सांगायचंय, मला विरोधी पक्ष नेत्यामध्ये फार काही इंटरेस्ट नव्हता. मला त्याच्यातनं मुक्त करा आणि संघटनेची जबाबदारी द्या आणि मग कशा पद्धतीने पक्ष चालतो. एक मिनिट. अर्थात हा अधिकार हा नेते मंडळींचा आहे, पण माझी इच्छा आहे. बाकीचे वेगवेगळे इच्छा प्रदर्शित करतात. आजपर्यंत पक्षाने जी जबाबदारी दिली ती जबाबदारी मी पार पाडलेली आहे. थोडं संघटनेत कुठलंही पद द्या, काय कसलंही पद तुम्हाला जे योग्य वाटेल ते द्या, त्या पदाला न्याय दाखवून देईल एवढा शब्द देतो थांबतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराज.
ठीक है ना, पार्टी में नहीं दिल की बात रखेंगे तो कहाँ रखेंगे.
All right, cutting across to Saurav Vaktania for more on that. Saurav, tell us more on Ajit Pawar's wishes of becoming the president of the NCP. He said it in as many words, and surprisingly, even Supriya Sule, they're welcoming that statement, saying this has boosted the party cadre. She might not mind it if that happened.
So, well, Nabila, this particular statement was given by Ajit Pawar in yesterday's 25th foundation day of NCP party, and it clearly shows that how Ajit Pawar is not at all happy. He's showing his displeasure, and clearly all is not well within the NCP party. And this had started after the Sharad Pawar's resignation hide and drama. And remember, it was only Ajit Pawar who was with Sharad Pawar's decision, and rest all the other party leaders were opposing it. And after 3 to 4 days of drama, how Sharad Pawar takes back the decision. And very recently in Delhi, when this whole decision came out that 2 working president of NCP party will be made, Supriya Sule and Praful Patel, and it clearly showed that how Ajit Pawar may be sidelined in the party. And yesterday his speech coming out, and he clearly said that he needs a bigger post. He also hinted out and taunted some of the leaders in the party within. He clearly said that some of the leaders from a party are being elected for past several years, but they are unable to strengthen the party. Not just this, he clearly gave an example also, like how Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal is alone fighting there. Arvind Kejriwal has 2 states, but we have a bigger leader like Sharad Pawar, who is the national leader, but we are not able to strengthen our party in Maharashtra. So therefore, I would like to work for the party to strengthen the party in Maharashtra. So this is a clear how there is not all well within the NCP party. There are several groups which have been made. One side is Ajit Pawar, and other faction is of some leaders. We are also been told that this was hinted for Jayant Patil. So we may also expect some changes, because down the line there is 3 elections in the state of Maharashtra, and the party does not want to go in such situation, and therefore we may expect some kind of changes. The party sources clearly telling us that Ajit Pawar might be given the state leadership, while Jayant Patil, if all the other party leaders of the MVA agrees, then he may become the LOP. So clearly we may changes within the NCP party in the coming times before the election. But yes, right now all is not well within the party, which is the concern for the NCP party in Maharashtra.
All right, let's see what Sharad Pawar really has to say with Ajit's statement that he made on 25th Founders Day. Thank you very much. All right, some big news from Manipur. 2 soldiers have been injured in firing in Imphal, Manipur. Soldiers injured in unprovoked firing in Imphal. In fact, we're seeing light machine guns that have been recovered in those searches. Additional forces have been deployed after firing. As we see Manipur right now still on the boil. Unfortunately, 2 soldiers have been injured in unprovoked firing in Imphal. We're seeing Manipur now. It's been well over a month now that Manipur is still on the boil. And unfortunately, we see 2 soldiers who have been injured in crossfire, an unprovoked attack. And what we know here is that some ammunition has been recovered there, some light machine guns recovered while during searches. Additional forces now deployed after firing was reported. In fact, this is the latest update as we see that the government right now at the center has called for an all-party meeting to try and assess the situation in Manipur. While that happens, we're seeing Manipur continues to have its fair share of violence as we see 2 soldiers injured in unprovoked firing. All right, on that note, I'm going to slip into a short break with a lot more news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
person among thousands that joined Prime Minister Modi for the Yoga Day celebrations in New York who stood out. It was Hollywood actor Richard Gere. The 73-year-old, who's best known for playing Edward Lewis in Julia Roberts' star A Pretty Woman.
Do you do yoga ordinarily as part of your life?
No, I have done it. I'm more of a Tai Chi person than a yoga person, but physical yoga. But mental yoga, yes, absolutely.
He may be into Tai Chi, but Gere was right next to Prime Minister Modi at the UN headquarters lawns, chanting Om and performing every asana. After the celebrations, he hailed the Prime Minister's message of universal brotherhood.
He's a product of Indian culture, comes from a vast place as Indian culture does. And this sense of universal brotherhood and sisterhood is, of course, a message we always want to hear over and over again.
The symbolism of Richard Gere's presence at the Yoga Day celebrations isn't lost on anyone. He's a follower of the Dalai Lama and has fought for the cause of Tibet for years. Just months ago, he voiced outrage, accusing China of cruelty, collective violence and persecution of the Tibetan people. His film Red Corner, where he played an American lawyer trapped in a corrupt Chinese legal system, also ran into trouble with the communist regime. But that didn't stop Gere from condemning China's occupation of Tibet, horrendous human rights situation at the 1993 Oscars. Gere has said that he lost out on plush Hollywood assignments for his anti-China stance. His presence next to Prime Minister Modi is not just a sign of growing India-US ties, but also a clear message aimed at China. Bureau Report, India Today.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.
Welcome back. I'm going to take you through some inputs coming in on the missing submersible. In fact, we're looking at the Titan submersible as they call it, that's gone missing along the Titanic wreckage. We believe updates coming in that this could have been a faulty affair right from the beginning. In fact, shocking details emerged that an expert who worked for this very company, the OceanGate company that operates this missing submersible, had warned of potential safety threats back in 2018 itself. David, the man who was working for this company, reveals that manufacturers of this Titan company itself were very well alerted and knew very well that the forward viewpoint of this vessel certified a depth of only 1,300 meters. But this Titanic wreckage site lies nearly 3,800 meters below the ocean surface, and the vessel has gone down as deep as 3,800 meters. David, who was the employee with that company, had also enthusiastically moved all the way from Scotland to Washington to work for that company. And while there was much curiosity about this very expedition that submersible vessel was allowing and offering to people who paid nearly $250,000 for one trip to get to that Titanic wreckage site through this submersible vessel. While the world was inquisitive, he had given an interview to BBC at that point, stressing that the mission was destined for the sea, which meant that it was all up. It would be likely that if the ocean is harsh, then one might just be able to imagine that the vessel is unsafe because a lot of safety measures haven't been put in check. He's claimed that he had warned his top bosses that flaws remain in the Titan's carbon hull and that might just go undetected without proper stringent testing, and urged that company at that point in time in 2018 to have an outside agency to come by and certify that vessel. He had said that his verbal warnings were ignored until he wrote a report, called for a meeting with several officials, including the Ocean Gate chief himself, the chief executive Stockton Rush, who ironically is also on that very board, on that very vessel on board, missing that vessel that's currently missing. So in fact, OpenGate responded to David in a way where they fired him, claiming that he had revealed some inside company details which was not allowed, and therefore they sued him as well. Instead of actually addressing the flaws in that vessel, they sued him for revealing some confidential information, and unfortunately that issue was brushed under the carpet. David, we believe, has also sued the company back. Eventually that lawsuit was settled, but what we know now is that this very glitch that was flagged off in 2017, 2018 has now come to haunt the very founders. Stockton Rush, the man that you see on your screens here, is the man, the chief executive, who was alerted by his own employee about this glitch in the vessel, but instead of addressing it back then, he brushed it under the carpet, sued that employee, and now he himself is in that vessel that's still missing. One should know that there's barely a few hours left of oxygen and the search is still underway. On that note, we're going to wrap this edition of the Bulletin right here. You could log on to indiatoday.in. You could also download our app for a lot more. Stay tuned. We're going to come back with the top headlines.
While some of the drivers and conductors of Haryana roadways are infamous for their arrogance, Sukhbir Chotiwala is a pleasant aberration. Sukhbir, who hails from Rithal village of Rohtak, works as an operator of Haryana roadways. Working since 2017, Sukhbir makes sure his passengers are comfortable. In the scorching heat, Sukhbir serves water to all the passengers from his salary.
मेरी ड्यूटी जयपुर रूट पे लगी थी, सोनीपत से जयपुर। तो उस टाइम बहुत गर्मी थी, तो मैंने वहाँ देखा सवारी बच्चे पानी के लिए गर्मी में बहुत बुरा हाल था जी। तो मैंने सोचा ड्यूटी के साथ साथ क्यों ना थोड़ा ये धर्मपुन का काम भी हो जाए, और उसी दिन से आते मैंने 4 कैंपर खरीदे और अगले दिन मैं कैंपर ही लेके गया रूट पे, और ये जल की सेवा फिर वहीं से शुरू की जी मैंने।
Sukhbir's Selfless Act has impressed Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, who praised Sukhbir in a tweet and invited him to Chandigarh to felicitate him. No wonder Sukhbir's bus is a favourite among passengers amid the prevailing heat wave condition. Bureau Report, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 41 and minimum 29 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 36 and minimum 28 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 28 and minimum 22 degrees. Chennai, maximum 32 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 33 and minimum 23 degrees.
by
The world comes together at Sharda University.
Right, a very good afternoon. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. The headlines first. All eyes on key Modi-Biden bilateral tonight. Big focus on defense and strategic ties with the United States. President Biden and First Lady Jill host Prime Minister Modi for an intimate dinner. Jill Biden personally inspects dinner table, gifts Modi antique American book galley and a vintage camera. Prime Minister Modi gifts Jill Biden 7.5 carat lab-grown green diamond. Modi presents also 10 Hindu gifts for President Biden as per Hindu rituals. High drama outside Delhi temple as protest over railing being demolished of a temple now turns ugly, with administration calling that encroachment while devotees being sentimental. Ajit Pawar reveals larger ambitions in NCP, says post of leader of opposition now stifling him. Ajit Pawar wants strong NCP post, expresses it. All right, second day of Prime Minister Modi in the United States, and today is really when the action begins. I'm going to take you through all the top developments and updates coming in on Modi's visit to United States. This is certainly an India moment. US President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted the Prime Minister Narendra Modi for an intimate dinner at the White House. A special Garba performance was organized for the Prime Minister while at dinner. Jill Biden personally inspects dinner arrangements at the White House. The menu focused on marinated millet, among other spread. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gifted a lab-grown 7.5 carat green diamond to US First Lady Jill Biden. The green diamond reflects earth-mined diamonds, chemical and optical properties like cut, the clarity and luster unparalleled. From a delicately handcrafted silver coconut to an idol of Lord Ganesha, Prime Minister Modi has gifted Joe Biden an intricate box containing 10 different donations. Modi's 10 gifts signify the Hindu principle of Das Danam, which is given to someone who is past the age of 80. Prime Minister Narendra Modi received an antique American book gallery from the early 20th century as the official gift from Joe Biden, the US President, and his wife, First Lady Jill. All right, now Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Washington, and the stage is right now set for Modi-Biden meeting. US President Biden is rolling out the highest honors for Prime Minister Modi. The power-packed day includes distinguished 21-gun salute, a lavish state dinner, and Prime Minister will be addressing a joint sitting of the US Congress on June 22nd. The Prime Minister's speech will be keenly watched for its geopolitical import. But all eyes now on bilaterals with Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, that will be the top focus, where defense will be top priority. Defense, tech partnership, climate change, these are the talks that is expected. And a lot more to transform India-US ties and elevate their strategic partnership across sectors. The Prime Minister will be back at the White House right this evening for a state dinner. In attendance will be 250 guests representing diversity of the Indian-American community.
The kinds of things that the two leaders will be discussing over the next couple of days, you'll see it's very future-focused because this is going to be a defining partnership for the next 10, 15 years at least. I would point you to what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of days, but you'll see from defense cooperation, cyber, space, resilient supply chains, climate change. I could go on and on. It's all about improving and deepening this bilateral relationship with India. It really is a forward-looking, future-focused discussion.
With this official state visit,
We are bringing together the world's oldest and the world's largest democracies. After years of strengthening ties, the U.S.-India partnership is deep and expansive as we jointly tackle global challenges. But our relationship isn't only about governments. We're celebrating the families and friendships that span the globe, those who feel the bonds of home in both of our countries. As some of you may know, Prime Minister Modi is a vegetarian. So we asked Chef Nina Curtis, a plant-based pioneer, to work with our White House chefs and create a stunning vegetarian menu. Guests will have the option to add fish to their main course as well, if they choose. Tomorrow night, guests will walk across the South Lawn into a pavilion draped in rich greens with saffron-colored flowers at every table, the colors of the Indian flag. And on the transparent sides, these colors and the strength of the heritage they represent frame the iconic scenery and symbols of our nation, our democracy, and our history. The White House and the Washington Monument. Inside each table arrangement is warm and unique. We hope guests feel as if someone has set that table just for them, because we have. After dinner, we'll have the opportunity to hear one of our nation's incredible talents, Grammy Award winner Joshua Bell. His performance will be followed by Pen Masala, a South Asian a cappella group from the University of Pennsylvania, who are bringing a little piece of my hometown to the White House, along with songs inspired by the sounds of India. Finally, after the last plates are cleared, with new connections forged and old ones strengthened, guests will end their evening walking across a moonlit lawn. There, they will be greeted by hundreds of glowing lanterns guiding them home, illuminating their pathway with all the warmth and love and laughter that we hope they take away from our time together. Now, normally, the press comes and you look at the beautiful plates of food that the chefs have prepared and get almost close enough to taste it. But you don't get to try it. So today, I've asked our chefs to prepare a few small bites of tomorrow's menu to thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Every detail of this dinner has been thoughtfully planned by a team of people from across our government. So I want to thank the White House residence staff and social team and the State Department staff who've been working so hard to make this visit meaningful.
All right, let me cut across to Palmi Saha joining us live from the newsroom. Palmi, what a visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second day, really. It's going to be filled with all action as he's going to be making that very important Congress address, the US Congress address for the second time. This is his speech that he will be delivering along with a gala dinner that's been planned. Tell us a little more on what's on schedule today.
Well, that's right. The Prime Minister is already in Washington, D.C. He arrived in D.C. after his the first leg of his United States tour in New York City, where he in fact led the Yoga Day celebrations at the UN headquarters in D.C. He in fact met President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. He engaged with them. There was an exchange of gifts that took place as well, very exquisitely curated and thoughtful gifts that was exchanged between the two sides. And then of course there was a private and an intimate dinner which was hosted by the Bidens for Prime Minister Modi. In fact, Prime Minister Modi also met with some of the family members of the Bidens as well while he spent time with them. On June 22nd, basically the Prime Minister's day begins when he arrives at the White House for a 21-gun salute. Remember that President Biden is in fact laying out the red carpet for Prime Minister Modi. This is a very unique state visit. He is being accorded the highest honors as far as diplomatic protocols go. Then of course there will be the bilateral, which will of course be the brass tacks. They will be sitting down and negotiating and agreeing on some very crucial deals. Of course, the defense part of it is what we've got our eyes on, because that is going to be extremely crucial. That will cement the US's position as the second largest military hardware supplier to India after Russia. So the Predator drones are on cards as well. So those are the details that we know at the moment, but clearly there could be surprises as well as far as the agreements between the US and India are concerned. After that, in the afternoon in Washington DC, the Prime Minister is slated to address a joint sitting of the US Congress. Again, a very, very rare honor. The second time that Prime Minister Modi will be addressing the US Congress. And later in the evening, of course, he will be the guest of honor at that state banquet, that state dinner, which will be hosted on the South Lawns of the White House by President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden for Prime Minister Modi. And close to over 300 guests are expected to be at that dinner, that state banquet, which will in fact be laid out for Prime Minister Modi. You of course heard from the First Lady over there giving out some of the details, the snippets of how they're going to make this a momentous occasion, how they're going to decorate. Even the decor of the South Lawns of White House will reflect the colors of the Indian tricolor. So they're pulling out all stops over there. And as Eric Garcetti told our news director Rahul Kaval before, of course, this visit started, that the state banquet, the state dinner is probably the hottest ticket in town.
All right, so this is certainly one of the most endorsed visits of Prime Minister Modi, and it's a courtesy that Joe Biden, in fact, the President of the United States, awarding this kind of courtesy happens to very few world leaders. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one of them. But stay with us, Paulomi, as influential Indian American Congressman Sri Thanedar is set to escort Prime Minister Narendra Modi to his historic joint address to the US Congress. The second speech he's going to make, the first time ever for an Indian Prime Minister to do so. Here's that exclusive conversation with that man, Thanedar.
You're going to escort the Indian Premier. How did that really come about?
Well, it is really an honor. And the United States Congress leadership, from both the Republican side and the Democratic side, asked me to be one of the escort. So as Prime Minister Modi ji enters the United States House chamber, I will be with him and escorting him. So this is a great honor, and I am just so thankful to my leadership for choosing me to do that.
It's a rare occasion and a moment, not just for you, but also for India. The Indian Premier is going to address this joint meeting of the Congress for the second time, a rare honor in itself. Are you going to have a moment with the Indian Prime Minister? What's the conversation going to look like or be like? Have you thought about it?
Oh, absolutely. I will have multiple opportunities to be, when I escort him to the House, when I meet him at the White House. The President and the First Lady has invited me and my wife for the state dinner, which is a huge honor. And my wife and I will be with the Prime Minister and a few other people for the state dinner. And, I will get multiple opportunities to speak with the Prime Minister.
All right, we see all the excitement now drumming up as Prime Minister Modi has landed in Washington, D.C. He's kick-started his maiden state visit with a visit to the National Science Foundation with First Lady Jill Biden. In fact, he will be addressing the Indian American student crowd, a huge student population that he's going to be addressing there. The visit will be also then followed by a private dinner hosted by the Biden family itself. We're going to bring to you in this detailed report what are the upcoming events, really the itinerary, the schedule for Prime Minister Modi over the next 2 days. Let's have a look.
After creating a world record with Yoga Day in New York, Prime Minister Modi touched down in Washington, D.C., officially kicking off his first state visit to United States of America. The Prime Minister received a full ceremonial welcome at Joint Base Andrew. And a big diaspora reception at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. Modi's Power Pack tour in Washington started with a visit to the National Science Foundation with the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden. The day ended with the private dinner with President Biden and his family. An official welcome at the White House awaits the Prime Minister. A 21-gun salute in honor of Prime Minister Modi. A bilateral with President Joe Biden follows, with defense tech partnership and climate change in focus. At Capitol Hill, the Prime Minister is scheduled to address the joint session and become the only Indian Prime Minister to get the honor twice. His speech will be keenly watched for its geopolitical import. Prime Minister will be back at the White House in the evening for the state dinner. In attendance will be some 250 guests representing the diversity of the Indian American community. Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken will host a lunch on June 23rd for Prime Minister at the State Department. During his US tour, Modi will address two diaspora gatherings. One of them at the prestigious Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and the other at the Ronald Reagan Center. A visit expected to transform India-US ties and elevate the strategic partnership across sectors. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, now big impact of Prime Minister Modi's diplomacy in the United States. The Biden administration is likely to relax visa restrictions for Indians who want to stay and work in the United States. The State Department can announce that a small number of Indians and other foreign workers on the H-1B visas will be able to renew those visas in the US without having to travel abroad. Traveling back to India for visa renewal won't be really necessary. Again, this is a move that's likely to impact users of the US H-1B program who've been struggling ever since COVID.
हमारे कई देशों के साथ सोशल सिक्योरिटी एग्रीमेंट को लेकर भी काम होता है। अभी आईएलओ में भी भारत के द्वारा माइग्रेशन और मोबिलिटी को लेकर के विषय उठाया गया था। नया जो ग्लोबल हो रहा है उसमें जो टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांसमेंट के कारण जो स्किल गैप है उसको पूरा करने के लिए भारत प्रतिबद्ध है। और मैं आपको ये भी कहना चाहूँगा, नए जो रोबोटिक्स का समय है, जो डिजिटलाइजेशन का समय है, उसमें स्किल को एम्पावर करने के लिए सरकार माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में प्रतिबद्धता के साथ कार्य कर रही है।
All right, let me cut across to Pallavi joining us on that. Pallavi, since COVID hit, there was quite a delay, an unprecedented delay to get visas to the United States. In fact, I myself took nearly about a year and a half to get my visa. I can only imagine with all the strings that I pulled, I managed it in a year. People have been waiting for nearly 2 years. Time limit for 3 to 4 years is what is predicted. Any word on that being reconciled with Prime Minister Modi's visit?
Well, that is, of course, a promise which has been made by the US ambassador, who's just very recently taken charge and has got his hands full because there have been some very high-profile diplomatic visits from the United States to India, and then, of course, this state visit of the Prime Ministers to the United States. So Eric Garcetti, in fact, speaking on the same US ambassador to India, had said that that is going to be a priority in terms of easing out that process which had, like you mentioned, had stalled in the year 2020 because of COVID. So there's been a big backlog as far as visas and the processing of visa applications for the US is concerned. But the other big news, of course, which is coming in, Nabila, which is confirmed at the moment from only sources, so we're waiting for an official announcement. It's highly likely that it could come today itself, possibly after the bilaterals that happened, the bilateral meeting between President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Modi at the White House a little later today in the US, in Washington, D.C. The possibility of visa norms being relaxed as far as H-1B visas are concerned. Remember that at least 73% of Indians are part of the 400 plus H-1B users in the US are concerned. So Indians tend to get impacted a lot. And what the US is proposing, this is only a pilot program at the moment. It will be rolled out if successful over the next couple of years. The pilot program basically says that in order to renew your visa, H-1B visas are for 3 years and you can renew it for 3 years. You don't have to come back to your country of origin in order to renew the visa. You can do so in the United States itself. So that is going to, in fact, free up a lot of resources as far as the consulates back here are concerned. And then possibly they could focus on the work of processing those US visa applications that many Indians, like you said, have been waiting for a very long time now.
All right. So this is H-1B visas basically for skilled workers who don't have to come back to India to renew it. They can stay in that very country and renew it for the next 3 years. That's a great relief for sure. But we're really hoping that even the tourist visas are fixed soon, because that seems like a lag for another year or more. Let's hope that Prime Minister Modi's visit there really fixes that glitch there. But thank you very much, Paulimi, for now, for joining us. In fact, while Modi is in the United States, Joe Biden, the President of the United States, is all set to host this huge dinner party for the Prime Minister in Washington later today. Modi was received by the President, First Lady Jill, and before entering the building, they posed for photographs and were seen chatting. This is, in fact, the images that I bring to you of a private dinner that happened last night. In fact, this was a few hours ago. It's right now late into the night in the United States. So a few hours ago, Prime Minister Modi was welcomed to a private, intimate dinner with Joe and Jill Biden. They personally inspected the dinner. Jill was seen making all the arrangements at the White House. And according to the White House, US President Biden and his First Lady really enjoyed this meal with Prime Minister Modi, and also a musical tribute that was arranged from different parts of India, including a special Garba performance that was organized for Modi as part of that dinner. At night, there was, tonight, in fact, there will be state dinner and a lot more that will be arranged. In fact, these are images coming in of Jill and Joe Biden as they inspected all the arrangements made for dinner. We heard that there's marinated millet, corn kernel, salad, stuffed mushrooms. That's all on the menu for at least 400 guests invited to the state dinner that's being hosted for Modi at the White House lawns tonight. It's been kept in mind that Prime Minister Modi is vegetarian, and they've included millet-based dishes just to ensure that his palate is catered to. We see that the decor of the White House there also signifying colors of the tricolour of the Indian national flag. Clearly that dinner having a whole Indian touch.
So for the first course, we will be highlighting the millet, since it's the year of the millet, is what Carlos and Chef Nina alluded to. This is the year of the millet, and millet is such a wonderful grain because, first of all, it is climate good because it doesn't need as much water to really cultivate it, and it has a lot of really wonderful health benefits. So if I would really want to eat healthy, millet is the thing for me. So what Chef Nina and I have kind of alluded to is that we did a wonderful marinated millet salad highlighted with a Maryland silver corn. We're in Maryland as well, so, and also some wonderful compressed watermelon that's local, that's compressed. So it really gives it a really wonderful sweetness, and it's highlighted with a tangy avocado vinaigrette that really encapsulates the whole flavor in it. So I'm going to take you to the main course right now.
Thank you, Chef. So I am holding a stuffed portobello mushroom, and it contains summer squash, sun-dried tomatoes. We have leeks, and it's just filled with herbs. And so, as Chef said, we have different herbs from India. I have saffron in this creamy risotto. And keep in mind, this is plant-based, so you're not missing any of the flavors, the textures, or taste. The portobello mushroom has been roasted to perfection, and then it's just a very flavorful and satisfying meal, along with the roasted baby carrots that are sitting on a yogurt lemon dill sauce. And of course, edible flowers. Yes, you can eat the flowers and herbs. They're good for you.
Well, here I have the third course, which is the dessert option, and it's a rose and cardamom infused strawberry shortcake. And included with this today, we have a modern twist on an American classic with cardamom infused strawberries. We have a rose syrup marinade with them, as well as a cardamom biscuit, and included are, of course, seasonal strawberries, and we have some citrus marigolds, and then we also have included the colors in the Indian flag and the United States flag in our version of sugar twist, all made by hand. So we made about almost 900 sugar curls together. So we're very excited because this is a very amazing summer dessert, and we're excited for everyone to have it, and we look forward to you having it today as well. Thank you.
All right, that's that whole red carpet rolled out and all the details, the intricacies that they're of course looking into every detail, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to be part of that grand state dinner organized by Joe Biden this evening. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, on the other hand, has gifted US President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill a very special gift. In fact, he's presented a special sandalwood box to Biden. The box contains 10 donations, delicately handcrafted silver coconut from West Bengal is offered in place of a cow for Gaudan. A fragrant piece of sandalwood sourced from Mysore, Karnataka, in place of land for Bhudan. In fact, we're seeing a till or white sesame seed sourced from Tamil Nadu for Tildan, and a 24 pure hallmark gold coin that was offered as Hiranyadan, sourced from Rajasthan. Prime Minister Modi has also gifted a copy of the first edition print of the book, The 10 Principal Upanishads, to President Joe Biden, and a lab-grown 7.5 carat green diamond to US First Lady Jill Biden, and an exquisite box that is sourced from Kashmir. Biden presented Modi, on the other hand, with a handmade antique American book gallery from the early 20th century as an official gift to him. He's also gifted Prime Minister Modi a vintage American camera accompanied by the archival facsimile print of George Eastman's patent of the first Kodak camera, and a hardcover book of American wildlife photography. All right, that's all the gift exchanges by the two world leaders, Joe Biden and Prime Minister Modi. In fact, this is India Today, right on top of that story. Consider this our rolling coverage through the day, as Prime Minister Modi is all set for his second US Congress speech that he will be delivering, the first, in fact, for a Prime Minister of India. In fact, the third when it comes to a global leader. All that and more right after a short break. Do stay with us.
best colleges of the country. Which one will boost your aspirations? From courses to placements, know them all. India Today Best Colleges Survey 2023. Issue out this Friday, 23rd June. Subscribe now to indiatoday.in/subscribe and get freebies worth 2,700 from your favorite brands.
Staying healthy in the summer involves knowing how to avoid sun poisoning and sunburn. Safe and healthy eating and drinking practices are included. We're telling you exactly what the most common mistakes in summers are and how you can avoid them. Though it may be tempting to enjoy the summer months outside, it's important to not overstay your welcome in the hot summer sun. Doing so can increase the risk of sunburn, sun poisoning, and skin cancer. Here are things you must keep in mind before you use a sunscreen. Adults should wear a sunscreen with no less than an SPF 15. Sunscreens should also be broad spectrum. This means they have the ability to protect against both ultraviolet A or UVA and ultraviolet B or UVB. UVA is what makes the skin age and UVB is what burns the skin. But if you do end up with a sunburn, do not use ice cubes. Sunburns can react to extreme cold. Do this instead. Putting a cold, damp towel on the skin for 10 to 15 minutes a few times each day. Applying a moisturizer with aloe vera or soy. Drinking extra water, leaving blisters alone. Sunglasses do much more than complement style during sunny days. Look for sunglasses that block out 99 to 100% of both UVA and UVB radiation. Lessen the risk of foodborne illnesses by keeping hands washed and cleaning prep surfaces and appliances. Cook and hold meats to their proper internal temperature as well. The anti-inflammatory properties of the following foods may act as a natural defense against the sun and sunburns. Berries, tomatoes, carrots, salad greens, fatty fish such as salmon, almond, green tea.
The diet which is high fiber diet and which have a high water content, for example green leafy vegetables, they have a high water content. You can eat watermelon in this summer. You can drink lot of fluids like coconut water is very important. Its potassium is a rich source of potassium. Potassium is very important for your muscles, and heat cramps most of the times when happen, it is all because of potassium and sodium loss from the body. So all these precautions you have to take this summer.
In New Delhi, Sneha Murdani for India Today.
It's been delayed by 1 week. Kerala usual date is the 1st of June. It started on the 8th of June. And the extended range prediction system ERPS of SkyMet is predicting a dismal outlook. What's your own sense, given your vast experience of tracking the monsoon showers?
You see, from the very beginning, it was clear that this year El Nino effect is going to have an impact on the monsoon rainfall in India. And the first forecast of both IMD and SkyMet reflected that. Then the IMD's second forecast came, which sort of projected a better monsoon, some kind of normal monsoon, which was a little surprising. So I wrote an article for Deccan Herald in which I explained the IMD's forecast. because I thought that despite all the experience and knowledge gained by IMD, the monsoon science is still not perfect. And therefore, sometimes the predictions can go wrong. In case of short-term predictions, like the one which has been issued by Skymet today, we can believe that it is going to be more reliable. So I think for the next few days, we should prepare for shortfall in rains. However, for the longer term, my own sense is that despite the IMD's forecast, we should prepare for shortfall in rains due to the impact of El Nino.
Okay, that's a very important nuance that Mr. Siraj Hussain has offered us viewers. He's making 2 points. One, the fact that the IMD gave a second forecast which was kind of different from the earlier one, but you know, it's science after all. But the more important thing, Shogoto, and I'm coming to you, is the distinction that Mr. Hussain sort of drives into our discussion, which is be prepared for a short-term shortfall, but in the long term things may well change. Is that how you also read his comment?
Yes, I agree. I mean, Mr. Sen has enormous expertise on this. So I completely agree that the first thing, if assuming that this climate forecast for the next month is correct, that rainfall there is a shortfall in rains and a bad spatial distribution, which is the most important part. Bad spatial distribution with a large, the central India, West India, North India, these are the main crop growing, the Kharif crop growing areas.
Hello and welcome. You're watching a special India Today broadcast. I'm right outside the White House in Washington, D.C. This is where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and American President Joe Biden met for an intimate dinner late in the evening. It's raining here in D.C. The weather has been playing truant. It's not perfect when it comes to the weather, but the setting is perfect for India and the United States to take their relationship to the next level. Over the next 2 days, the Prime Minister will be part of a state visit, a very rare state visit. Remember, President Biden hasn't been doing too many of these state visits, just his third since becoming President of the United States. And this is where he's really laying out the red carpet for Prime Minister Modi and for India. In the morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was at the United Nations headquarters. From there, he came straight to Washington, D.C. and got down to business. He met with Mrs. Biden, with whom he went to the National Science Center, meeting with a bunch of young, enthusiastic students, talking about technology, talking about the future, talking about the need to bring American students to India and trying to use the Indian intellectual power to grow relations between the two countries and try and take them to the next level. Apart from that, he also had the opportunity to meet with some top CEOs of companies like Micron, which have been talking about investing in the semiconductor technology area in India. So very significant meetings and significant announcements by these chief executives who've publicly declared that they will be investing heavily in the India story.
My name is Manasa Iyer. I'm from Rockville, Maryland. I'm so excited Prime Minister Modi is coming. This is truly an honor and a great way for us to showcase our culture and to welcome him to Washington, D.C.
It was absolutely inspiring to share space with Honorable Prime Minister of India and First Lady Jill Biden, and to hear their thoughts about the various opportunities available and their passion for education. And I'm really looking forward to how I can combine all this inspiration to achieve something worthwhile.
Seeing the interaction between the Prime Minister and First Lady
today. There was a tremendous energy in the room, and it really made me aware of the depth of the intellectual and scientific collaboration between India and the United States, and really inspires me to participate in that exchange and grow its depth.
I came to welcome Modi, and he is a global leader and doing an extremely good job for global good. We are proud of him.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with Indian American students at the National Science Centre, asking these young, bright minds to focus on technology, focus on innovation, and focus on making the changes that would define where mankind goes from here.
Friends, आज भारत और अमेरिका को ग्रोथ का मोमेंटम बनाए रखने के लिए एक पाइपलाइन ऑफ टैलेंट उसकी भी जरूरत है, जहां एक और अमेरिका के पास उच्च कोटि के शिक्षण संस्थान है, एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी है, वहीं भारत के पास विश्व की सबसे बड़ी युवा फैक्ट्री है। और इसलिए मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत और अमेरिका की साझेदारी सस्टेनेबल और इंक्लूसिव ग्लोबल ग्रोथ का इंजन साबित होगी। अमेरिका में कम्युनिटी कॉलेज द्वारा निभाई जा रही अहम भूमिका के लिए मैं हृदय से आप सबका बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं। हमारी वर्तमान और आने वाली पीढ़ियों को एक बेहतर भविष्य सुनिश्चित करने के लिए यह हम सभी का दायित्व है। इस उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए आवश्यक है एजुकेशन, स्किल, इनोवेशन, और भारत में हमने इस दिशा में कई प्रयास किए हैं। हमने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में शिक्षा और स्किलिंग को इंटीग्रेट किया है। स्किल इंडिया मिशन के तहत हमने अब तक 50 मिलियन लोगों को स्किलिंग किया है, और हम 15 मिलियन लोगों को फ्यूचर स्किल्स और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, एडिटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, ब्लॉकचेन, ड्रोन, इन सारे क्षेत्रों में हम स्किल कर रहे हैं। हमने स्कूलों में लगभग 10,000 अटल टिंकरिंग लैब्स उसकी स्थापना की है, जहां बच्चों को तरह तरह के इनोवेशन करने के लिए सभी प्रकार की सुविधाएं दी जा रही हैं। हमने युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए स्टार्टअप इंडिया मिशन शुरू किया है। हमारा लक्ष्य इस डेकेड को टेक डेकेड या टेकेड बनाने का है।
If we want our economies to be strong, we need to invest in young people who are our future. We need to ensure that they have the opportunities that they deserve. Through Joe's Investing in America agenda, we're creating millions of good jobs in growing industries like clean energy and manufacturing. And we're bringing together our entire administration, including agencies like NSF, to partner with employers, unions, schools, and local governments so we can ensure that students have what they need to pursue these careers. That's the Biden education pathway. It starts with free, high-quality, universal preschool and creates a high school experience that prepares students for their next steps. It provides 2 years of affordable community colleges and opens up avenues if you decide to go to a 4-year college. That's how we build the future of our workforce. Education is the cornerstone of the bond between India and the United States.
Tomorrow in the morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be back at the White House in Washington, D.C. It starts with a 21-gun ceremonial salute where the American president will welcome the Prime Minister. Then they get down to bilateral talks, which will be followed by a press conference. Then the Prime Minister in the afternoon will be addressing the joint session of Congress. And then in the end is the state banquet, which is what a lot of people will be invited for, which is what the buzz and the hype is all around. But before that, the meat of this visit, the bilateral talks between the Indian Prime Minister and the American President.
After creating a world record with Yoga Day in New York, Prime Minister Modi touched down in Washington, D.C., officially kicking off his first state visit to United States of America. The Prime Minister received a full ceremonial welcome at Joint Base Andrew. And a big diaspora reception at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. Modi's Power Pack tour in Washington started with a visit to the National Science Foundation with the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden. The day ended with the private dinner with President Biden and his family. An official welcome at the White House awaits the Prime Minister. A 21-gun salute in honor of Prime Minister Modi. A bilateral with President Joe Biden follows, with defense tech partnership and climate change in focus. At Capitol Hill, the Prime Minister is scheduled to address the joint session and become the only Indian Prime Minister to get the honor twice. His speech will be keenly watched for its geopolitical import. Prime Minister will be back at the White House in the evening for the state dinner. In attendance will be some 250 guests representing the diversity of the Indian American community. Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken will host a lunch on June 23rd for Prime Minister at the State Department. During his US tour, Modi will address two diaspora gatherings. One of them at the prestigious Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and the other at the Ronald Reagan Center. A visit expected to transform India-US ties and elevate the strategic partnership across sectors. Bureau Report, India Today.
One of the big takeaways of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States has been the Predator-Killer drone deal, which has now been approved by the Indian Defence Acquisition Committee, and a formal announcement likely during this visit or soon after. But India having made up its mind to go ahead and buy 30 plus Predator drones. Now these are the most lethal unmanned aerial vehicles used to take down some of the most notorious terrorists internationally, and that technology will soon be available to India to use against its enemies, to use against China, use against Pakistan if push ever comes to shove.
These lethal long-endurance, medium-altitude drones may soon be the new weapons in the arsenal of the Indian Armed Forces. The Defence Acquisition Council on Thursday gave its nod for the acquisition of the Sea Guardian drones. The Army, the Navy and the Air Force are looking at 10 drones each. The Indian Navy has already leased two MQ-9 Sea Guardians, the naval version of the drones, for intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance operations since 2020.
ये जो डील है ये हमारे देश की मैरीटाइम और ओवरऑल सिक्योरिटी के लिए बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि सर्वेलेंस सबसे ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण स्थान रखता है, क्योंकि हमें चाहिए कि हम अपनी एरिया में जहाँ एरिया ऑफ ऑपरेशंस है वहाँ निगरानी रख सकें। और ये क्षमता इस कैपेबिलिटी से हमें मिलती है।
The MQ-9A Reaper drones were used for the precision targeting of Al-Qaeda chief Ayman al-Zawahiri in Kabul. These unmanned combat aerial vehicles, apart from a number of sensors, cameras and radars, are also capable of carrying 4 Hellfire missiles for precision targeting of high-value targets. Both the Army and the Air Force are looking at these drones for high-risk operations to destroy strategic assets of the adversary without risking the lives of pilots. These hunter-killer drones can carry 4 Hellfire missiles. They're also capable of carrying 2 laser-guided bombs and 2 joint-action JDAMs. These drones can fly at an altitude of 40,000 feet and remain airborne for over 36 hours. They're also capable of loitering in the sky, scanning the ground below for the enemy. The MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones come with both maritime surveillance, reconnaissance and anti-submarine warfare capabilities. The drones are capable of providing over-the-horizon surveillance and reconnaissance support both to warships and surface units. With increased Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region, coupled with Chinese aggression along the LAC, these UCAVs will help keep an eye on the adversary both in the Himalayas and in the Indian Ocean region and take out strategic targets when needed. Bureau Report, India Today.
Before his arrival in Washington, D.C., the Prime Minister was at the United Nations headquarters. I had an opportunity to, see the yoga routine that he was performing. And at the end of it, when we were just very close to where the Prime Minister was, I could see he was sweating and he'd taken the whole yoga routine very, very seriously. Right next to him was Richard Gere, the famous Hollywood actor. We had an opportunity to ask him a few questions as he was going in. And remember, the interesting thing is he's known internationally for his very strong anti-China stance. So he's sitting right next to the Prime Minister doing that yoga, and also, even though he didn't say anything about it, just by the positions he's taken in the past, his presence itself sending a strong message.
One person among thousands that joined Prime Minister Modi for the Yoga Day celebrations in New York who stood out. It was Hollywood actor Richard Gere. The 73-year-old, who's best known for playing Edward Lewis in Julia Roberts' star of Pretty Woman.
Do you do yoga ordinarily as part of your life?
No, I have done it. I'm more of a Tai Chi person than a yoga person, but physical yoga. But mental yoga, yes, absolutely.
He may be into Tai Chi, but Gere was right next to Prime Minister Modi at the UN headquarters lawns, chanting Om and performing every asana. After the celebrations, he hailed the Prime Minister's message of universal brotherhood.
He's a product of Indian culture, comes from a vast place, as Indian culture does. And this sense of universal brotherhood and sisterhood is, of course, a message we always want to hear over and over again.
The symbolism of Richard Gere's presence at the Yoga Day celebrations isn't lost on anyone. He's a follower of the Dalai Lama and has fought for the cause of Tibet for years. Just months ago, he voiced outrage, accusing China of cruelty, collective violence and persecution of the Tibetan people. His film Red Corner, where he played an American lawyer trapped in a corrupt Chinese legal system, also ran into trouble with the communist regime. But that didn't stop Gere from condemning China's occupation of Tibet, horrendous human rights situation at the 1993 Oscars. Gere has said that he lost out on plush Hollywood assignments for his anti-China stance. His presence next to Prime Minister Modi is not just a sign of growing India-US ties, but also a clear message aimed at China. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's continuing to rain here in Washington, D.C., and it's beginning to pour more and more. So we're going to wrap up this late night broadcast early in the morning in India, but very late in the night here in the United States. And we'll be back early in the morning tomorrow, Washington, D.C. time, as we track Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States. This is Rahul Kamal with camera person Kirpal Singh signing off from right outside the White House for India Today. I'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.
Snail mucin, mugwort, rice, Centella asiatica are all cave beauty favorites. Whether it works or not is always up for debate, but the world has really enjoyed relaxing in a Korean sheet mask to unwind, and they surely hydrate well for a Korean kind of a glass skin glow. The latest entrant, salmon sperm. K-beauty has made it a super hot commodity. In the music video for Vegas, Doja Cat is seen smearing a face with a cosmetic stick. If reports are to be believed, this product was made from salmon collagen and salmon PDRN to enhance skin elasticity.
It's really a polynucleotide, and what it does is it has an anti-inflammatory role, so it helps reduce inflammation in the skin. This is all because of the wound healing response, and so this is why it's become such a popular ingredient right now.
K-beauty, no doubt, is a cult favorite. Further enhanced by K-pop culture that is a big deal amongst Gen Z. BTS and Blackpink are all over the place, and if you notice, they emulate a certain aesthetic standard which just cannot be accidental. While the Koreans have skin that's definitely different from Indians, some basics of skincare remain standard across the board. Cleanse, tone, moisturize, and do not forget the sunblock. How simple is that?
Korean people, there are about 5 to 6 skincare routine that we follow, which start from skin, lotion, essence, cream, eye cream. So basically, little effort is required to have a flawless skin. Yeah.
To say that Koreans are too serious about their skincare would be a huge understatement. But through all their 10-step routine lies a simple philosophy: moisturize and hydrate well. In New Delhi, with Vaishnavi Harwar, Lifestyle Bureau, India Today.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 41 and minimum 29 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 31 and minimum 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 36 and minimum 28 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 28 and minimum 22 degrees. Chennai, maximum 32 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 33 and minimum 23 degrees.
Why does this happen? Let me tell you the science behind it.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.
Powered by. The world comes together at Sharda University.
Very good afternoon. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. Let me take you through the top headlines. All eyes on Modi-Biden bilateral talks tonight. Big focus on defense and strategic ties with the United States. President Biden and First Lady Jill host Prime Minister for an intimate dinner. Jill Biden personally inspects dinner table, gifts Modi an antique American book gallery and a vintage camera. And Prime Minister, on the other hand, gifts Jill Biden a 7.5 carat lab-grown green diamond. Modi presents also 10 Hindu gifts to President Biden, gifts as per Hindu rituals for the 80-year-old President Joe Biden. All eyes on mega opposition meet tomorrow in Patna. BJP releases posters against the meet. Mehbooba reaches Patna ahead of that meet. Karnataka power tariff showdown escalates. Protests and Bandh over power tariff, steep 30% increase. In fact, the protest now triggers quite a controversy and commotion in the state. Ajit Pawar reveals larger ambitions in NCP, says post of leader of opposition stifling him. Ajit Pawar wants a stronger NCP post. All right, now uproar over Uddhav Thackeray's Sena. The office demolition that begins, bulldozers raise down Uddhav Sena's office. UBT Sena office in Bandra East razed as massive police deployment has been put in place. While that said, we see already commotion taking place. BMC demolition drive on Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray camp's office in Bandra East. The police presence there showing people there gathering in large numbers, people, supporters of the Uddhav Sena camp, who have all landed up as bulldozers work its way to break down the office of Uddhav Thackeray's Sena. Images coming in from Bandra East, where uproar now has begun over this demolition drive as bulldozers now razing down Uddhav Thackeray's office, the Uddhav Sena, their office that's located in Bandra East, that's been pulled down. The deployment has been made by the civic authorities there. Mustafa joining us for a little more with that ground report. Mustafa taking us through this. Listen in.
Near Bandra station in Bandra East,
a Shakha of Uddhav Balasaheb Shiv Sena was demolished by the BMC. It's said to be an illegal construction which was demolished. Workers of Shiv Sena who have gathered here say that this is not an illegal branch, and also that they were not given any notice before demolition of this entire branch, and hence before monsoon this demolition will cause inconvenience. We can see that police presence is here. There are excavation which is JCBs which are here to break these boards and entire structure. People here are protesting this demolition, but the BMC said, and with the police presence and the police protection, they will go ahead with this demolition. With camera person Mahesh More, Mustafa Sheikh for India Today.
All right, that's Mustafa showing us the kind of police presence, while bulldozers now working its way to raise down Uddhav Thackeray's office, the Sena office that's located in Bandra East. These are images as the bulldozers just about begins demolition drive. In fact, this clearly comes at a time when there's an investigation on BMC and irregularities during the COVID period under the Uddhav Thackeray regime, even as the ED has launched a raid into multiple locations of Uddhav Thackeray's close aide. And while an SIT team has been formed into irregularities within the BMC while they were under Uddhav Thackeray, now you have the BMC demolishing this very Sena office, Uddhav Thackeray's Sena office that's in Bandra East. Let me cut across to the reasons for it. Mustafa Sheikh joining us. Mustafa, is this, first of all, encroached land? We see that demolition drive by the BMC begins. What's the purpose of demolition?
Well, yes, Nabila, let me tell you that Shiv Sena has this concept of having a branch-like office in every corporation ward of Mumbai. So this is ward number 96, and here this is the place where this office was situated. Prima facie, if you look at it, it looks like an encroached land, and behind this office is the slums. The entire area has huge population of slum areas, and there are demolitions which routinely keep happening here. What these office bearers are saying is that they were not given any notices. The Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde has just opened up an office which is also illegal, and it was inaugurated by a sitting minister. Will that office be demolished? So they are alleging that it's a targeted action which has been taken, and hence they are saying that this is political vendetta. And here in Bandra East near railway station, within few minutes with a JCB excavator, the BMC officials along with police presence came here. This office was completely demolished and they have left. What will happen now is a question whether they'll be moving court against this structure or not. But what is of importance is that this is a structure which has been demolished. It could be an illegal structure, but political allegations after this have started, and we'll have to wait and see, because yesterday there was ED raids on people who are associated with Uddhav Thackeray, and now this office demolition. So clearly there is a lot of ammo politically for the Uddhav Sena, saying that they are being targeted by the people who are in power. Back to you.
All right. So, you know, this is what Uddhav Thackeray's camp says, that this is a deliberate attempt to target. But do they have official records or documents to suggest that this is not encroached land? We see this timing of it is also very important, as the BMC has been accused of crores of money that they've allegedly swindled in the name of COVID. This was when Uddhav Thackeray was in power as the chief minister. Right at that time, when investigation on that front is underway, here the BMC initiates a demolition drive on the Sena office.
Yes, the local office bearers are showing a High Court order saying that they have a stay on this particular structure, and hence they are alleging that it was done as a political vendetta. They were showing that there is a High Court stay on this particular structure, and during the stay, and also as per the BMC manual, there are monsoons which are arriving, and generally demolitions don't take place near the monsoon season. So these are allegations that are being made by the Uddhav Sena, but clearly the BMC has done its job. There was police presence. demonstrations, and this office has completely razed. What Eknath Shinde Shiv Sena is saying that this particular office, as it was in the middle of the road near a railway station, it was causing inconvenience to people on a daily basis, and hence this has been demolished. But it's clear that Uddhav Sena will also try and take sympathy on this particular count, that now their offices are being demolished, and this is being done without giving notices of fair warning. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. But stay with us, Mustafa. We have a lot more news coming in from Maharashtra. Let me cut across to NCP's Ajit Pawar. In a speech, Ajit Pawar, that he made on 25th Foundation Day of the NCP, he's spoken about his political ambitions. That sparked quite some speculation in Maharashtra. Senior NCP leader Ajit Pawar has appealed to the party leadership to relieve him of responsibility as the leader of opposition in Maharashtra Assembly and assign him a bigger party role. In fact, the statement comes right after Sharad Pawar recently appointed his trusted aide Praful Patel and daughter Supriya Sule as the party's working presidents. Reacting to this development, Supriya Sule has extended support to Ajit Pawar. She claims that Ajit's wishes have really created great enthusiasm among the NCP party cadres. Let's have a listen.
आता इतके वर्ष सगळीकडे काम केले. मला स्टेजवरच्या मान्यवरांना आपल्यालाही सगळ्यांना सांगायचंय, मला विरोधी पक्ष नेत्यामध्ये फार काही इंटरेस्ट नव्हता. मला त्याच्यातनं मुक्त करा आणि संघटनेची जबाबदारी द्या आणि मग कशा पद्धतीने पक्ष चालतो. एक मिनिट. अर्थात हा अधिकार हा नेते मंडळींचा आहे, पण माझी इच्छा आहे. बाकीचे वेगवेगळे इच्छा प्रदर्शित करतात. आजपर्यंत पक्षाने जी जबाबदारी दिली ती जबाबदारी मी पार पाडलेली आहे. थोडं संघटनेत कुठलंही पद द्या, काय कसलंही पद तुम्हाला जे योग्य वाटेल ते द्या, त्या पदाला न्याय दाखवून देईल एवढा शब्द देऊन थांबतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराज.
अर्थातच एका बहिणीला माझ्या भावाच्या सगळ्या इच्छा पूर्ण होतात अशीच वाटतात, आणि अर्थातच भाऊ म्हणून दादाची वाटतात, पण संघटनाही एक कुटुंब म्हणून राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्ष काम करतात. त्याच्या कुटुंबातले सगळे लोक आनंदी राहावे याच्यात तर मग मजा आहे ना, मग काम करायला आणि आनंद वाटतो. ठीक है ना, पार्टी में नहीं दिल की बात रखेंगे तो कहाँ रखेंगे.
All right, let me cut across to Mustafa Sheikh joining us live for more on this. Mustafa, Ajit Pawar's ambitions is not surprising. He's made it quite well known, even in the past, almost broke away from the NCP, joined hands with the BJP, this, push and pull. And then he was brought back into the party's fold by Sharad Pawar. Now, Sharad Pawar has sidestepped him, given working president's role to his daughter Supriya Sule and one other. Ajit Pawar at this point in that talk on Founders Day has made it quite clear that he's unhappy.
Well, clearly, and in fact, Ajit Pawar's these expressions make many leaders in the NCP uncomfortable. Which post is he eyeing? Is he eyeing for the post of the party state president or some other post? So these are some rumors which are doing around. But Ajit Pawar has in public, when Sharad Pawar was on the stage, has clearly given this what you can say, expressed his view and wish to resign as leader of opposition, which has a cabinet position in Maharashtra cabinet, and work for the party and for the organization. Remember, NCP is a party who is also saying that they want to make the next chief minister from their own party. Who will that person be? So clearly Ajit Pawar has political ambitions, and there were rumors saying that it didn't go well with him, with Ajit Pawar, when Supriya Sule and Praful Patel were made the working presidents and given the responsibility of Maharashtra. Supriya Sule has the responsibility of Maharashtra and the upcoming elections. So in these things, somewhere it looks like Ajit Pawar is trying to find some base, some ground in the party, so that tomorrow, once the results are out, people's mandate is there, he can demand a position he deserves in the next government in Maharashtra. So it clearly seems that he is not willing to go ahead with the leader of opposition role. He wants to come back to the party organization, work for the party, get them as many seats possible in the assembly elections, and ask for his due. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mustafa, for joining us on that. All right, here's all eyes now on the mega opposition meet that's going to happen in Patna tomorrow, headed by Nitish Kumar. The Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, is going to be turning this event itself into a grand one that he's hosting himself on the 23rd of June as he plans to roll out the red carpet for all leaders of almost 20 opposition parties in Patna. The event could perhaps turn the Lok Sabha finale into quite an intense Modi versus all battle. This is a precursor of what might just happen in the run-up to 2024, a warm-up session rather of opposition unity that we'll get to see. BJP has released this poster meanwhile, mocking the meet, calling opposition netas as thugs of Hindustan. The mega meet could well pump up the opposition's morale that has plunged. It's been, at this point, there's a shadow cast on the opposition unity itself. Constant squabbling, one-upmanship that each of the opposition parties project themselves, giving Saffron Party also at this point quite a tough fight. In many states, we believe the Saffron Party is keeping a close